today we are doing a book review, and it is on a delightful book that I am so excited to talk about. That is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. And I first want to give a shout out to Jashana, who I can't remember if it was a book review she did on it, or like in a book haul, or in like a wrap-up or something. I don't remember. She talked about this book, and I was so excited that while I was watching that book, I went and put it on hold in the library. That said, that was back in, I think, January. It took like 5 months for it to work its way through the library system until I got it, and now I understand why, because it is so good. But anyway, I'm going to link in the description below both Jashana's channel and the actual video that sold me on this, because obviously if it was strong enough to sell me on it, I think it will sell you. Even this review as well hopefully will sell you, because I want you to read this book. But anyway, let's talk about the book itself. So this book, House in the Cerulean Sea, is about a man. His name is Linus. He works in a department that tracks basically children with magical abilities. And it's not, this whole book, at the offset I should say, is very whimsical. In fact, the vibe, maybe I should start here. The vibe is very much, in my estimation, like a positive, bubbly version of a series of unfortunate events. That sort of Lemony Snicket, our world, but a bunch of weird and odd things happen in it, which I know like technically is magical realism, but it's sort of distinct, because magical realism like goes for like the reality, but also some of these, you know, more unexplainable or magical moments. Whereas this book doesn't really try to be our world. Again, I keep coming back to a series of unfortunate events where like they're humans, they're living in what supposedly is our world, but it's obviously not our world. And that's just how this world is. So Linus is working for the governmental agency that takes care of children with magical abilities. Take care is a quotation mark, because like most children rearing things that are done in a bureaucratic way, it's not the best way for children to grow up. And he's sort of stuck in this place where he's been in a rut for like 20 years. He enjoys his job because he enjoys children, but because of the way the world is, you're supposed to stay very detached from the children. That's like what the departmental manual tells him to do. And so he doesn't enjoy life really. He's not married, he doesn't have any friends, it seems like, but he's this nice guy at his core. So really the main story is him sort of finding out about like the good sides of his nature, and that he is a good person, and that he deserves to have a good time, while he goes to check on one very particular orphanage that is very secretive. And at this orphanage, there are sort of the weirdest of the weird, or the most powerful of children. And a couple of them have very, like, personalities from lore that you will know, but I'm not going to spoil any of that, because the first 100 pages I enjoyed just finding out what was happening, these silly things, these children and how they acted. And then the caretaker of that place is also sort of a mystery that unfolds through the whole book. And the real core of this book is like being who you are, but also accepting other people and who they are, and empowering them to be their best person. It's specifically, obviously, a challenge towards like adults and older people, and how they treat children and discipline them and introduce them to the world. But also I think it's a general principle that all of us should learn about inclusion and acceptance, and like praising people for what they can do, rather than trying to have everyone conform to a very particular place. And I think it's a very important, powerful message, and it's a great book. Like, it is a joy to read. It's short.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, Siri. Nope, I don't need you to help me. Anyway, as I was saying, it's a shorter book. It's like 400 pages, but it's a page turner without any sort of like suspense. Well, that's not true. There's some suspense in the mystery, but like it's not like a Dan Brown, you know, page turner. But you're just loving the world and the characters to be there, and you want to keep being there, as much as it does have sort of a story beat push as well. It really is tremendous. So many heartwarming moments. I didn't cry, but I came close. So this is just a really, really great book. On the top, another author says this book is very close to perfect, and I would agree with that. It is just delightful in every way. This is the first time I've read TJ Klune, and I really, really enjoyed this bit. There's no like suspense as far as like a huge plot element. It really is just the strength of all of the individual characters makes it a completely enjoyable experience. I highly, highly recommend this. This book really straddled the line between best of all time and universal recommend for me. I went back and forth on it. I think just because of my particular reading taste towards more high fantasy, I'm gonna put this in a universal recommend, but don't take that as like any sort of recommendation that you shouldn't read this. You should read this. Everyone should read it. It is a great book, especially even if you're like me and you like high fantasy. Reading this in between things like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and Malazan and all these is just a great breath of different air. I don't like to say fresh air because I like the other stuff too, but you know, it's just a different speed and it is so good. Highly recommend House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Check it out. If you have read this, let me know in the comments below what you think of it, and please get on my Discord and let's talk spoilers, because there are some really cool things in here that I can't talk about in this non-spoiler review. But yeah, so be on the Discord if you haven't. Check out my Patreon, all that jazz. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, first in, last out.